What's going on, guys? Alright, welcome back to the channel. We got the Raminator motor back on the bench. Gonna go over a couple things, what I purchased for parts, the plan as to what we're gonna do to this motor. Finally time to get back into this, so let's get after it. As you can see, we got the Raminator motor finally back on the bench. I know a lot of you have been waiting for this moment. It's finally back here. We're going to finish up this project and get this thing running, get it back over to Mike at Roughneck RC, and give it a good test run. So let's go over a couple of things that I purchased for it. Obviously, as you can see, I 3D printed a lot of parts to make this happen. Degree wheel, cylinder hold. I also have a dial caliper hold. This is for repeatability as far as measuring the durations on the port timings. Much easier with the dial indicator. I can set it at 0, when the port is closed and so on and so forth. It's good for repeatability. I can go back to 0. So anyway, moral of the story is, if you guys are interested in doing this on your own, I will be getting these files together. So typical dial caliper. This is all, I 3D printed the degree wheel. It's got all the hash marks on it. The cylinder hold takes all 4 bolts. This here, little M3 screw locks down this sucker. So, it holds firmly. Goes all the way to the bottom of the cylinder, all the way to the top of the cylinder. It's very adjustable up and down. So if you guys are interested in that, you guys want to do your own work, simple files, I'll get them all together for you. But basically, let's go over what we got here. So ended up ordering a 2-shoe adjustable clutch. That's going to help a lot to get the acquired, engagement. Ordered carbon fiber reed. This is a clear carbon fiber reed set. So that's going to help a lot with RPM stability. I ordered a copper base gasket. I wasn't sure on the thickness, nobody stated, so I purchased it, and of course it's 20 thousandths. It's not going to work for what we're doing, but it was worth a shot. So got that. And then obviously your typical gasket kit for a CAG 49, which is, all these Chinese motors. So basically, that's it for parts, what I purchased. I think all this stuff was like, I don't know, 50 bucks or something. But now comes the fun part. So, did a lot of port mapping, obviously degree wheel, all that happy stuff. So, I got a lot of stuff here written down. This is going to be the plan for as far as what we're doing. Factory headspace, the squish was 60 thou with a 20 thousandths head gasket. So, we got a total of 60 thou in the squish, just measured with a simple piece of solder down through the plug hole. You can rest it on top of the piston, roll it over, and then, mic your solder. But that's where we are with that. Exhaust duration was 164 degrees, kind of low. Intake duration, 110 degrees. Again, that's actually really low, but typical on these CAGs. Blowdown duration was like 22 to 23 degrees. It was like right in between, so like 22 and a half. That's an acceptable number. Anything up to 30 is acceptable and will run, but when you get to the 30 degrees of blowdown, it's going to have no low end torque. So the 23 degrees it's a decent number. So basically, we want to raise the port timing. We want to change this map. So from the calculations, this is another thing this dial caliper comes in handy for. For instance, I raised the piston 20 thousandths, and it actually gave me 2 degrees of timing. So that can calculate through the board as to how that's going to work out. So that's a good number to keep on hand. But anyway, this is the idea. I want to raise this cylinder 70 thou. I want to raise it 70 thou. I want a port timing or an exhaust duration of 171 degrees, and I want an intake duration of 117. I'd really like this intake duration number to be larger, but it's hard to do that without, I'd have to cut on the cylinder, and I really don't want to do that. I'd like to make this an easy thing, and, raising the port timing is going to help, so. But this is still a lazy number. I'd like this to be in like the 119, 120 degree range. Blowdown is going to remain the same at 23 degrees. Really, I mean, I wouldn't want to go any further than 175 degrees on the exhaust. That's kind of like the peak on these motors. They're not going to like much more than that. But anyway, this is what it is with raising it 70K. So obviously, I'm going to need to, I have to make my own base gasket. It's going to be 90 thou. The reason it's 90 thou is because we have to remember that the factory gasket was 20 thousandths thick. So raising it 70, now we're at 90. Now if I make my own gasket, I need the material to be 90. So we're going to do, I'll make my own gasket on the CNC machine. That'll be recorded. We'll figure that out. As far as the squish calculation, so the original number was 60 thou. So, 60 plus the 90 is 150. Now if we subtract the 20 thou from that for the original base gasket, we get 130. So there's our simple math, that was the final. So 130. So basically our new squish value here, this is what we're after. We're doing, so 90 minus 20 is 70, and then new squish value. So this is just another section of this math. But new squish, 70 thou plus 60 thou equals 130, so we're back to that target number that I did up here. Our target squish, this is where I want to be. Target squish, I want to be at 0.35, so 35 thou. I want that at 35 thou. So basically we got 130 minus 35 thou equals a 95 thousandths takedown. So I'm going to be pulling 95 thousandths off the top face of this cylinder down. I'm going to be pulling that down 95 thousandths, and that's going to give me a total of 35 thousandths. So for headspace with the factory 20. So if I pull that 20 out, I can squish it all the way down to 15 thou, which typically these things are not capable of. There's so many inconsistencies in the piston that usually 20 to 24, somewhere in that range, you're actually going to start to hit the cylinder head. So basically 30 is a good number. I want to keep it at like 35 so I don't have to run crazy fuel, or he doesn't have to run crazy fuel in this thing, because it's already going to be to the point where he's going to have to run higher octane in this motor. That's just the nature of the beast. We're raising the compression, we're raising the port timing, so it's not going to run on pump gas, unfortunately, but it should be a lively little animal. Typically like 104 octane is going to be a good number. I mean, it'll run on 95. I know it'll run on 95, so it's not going to be as peppy. But 100 to 104, somewhere in that area is going to be a good octane for these things. So basically that's it in a nutshell as far as the math. What we're going to do is, as far as the motor, so basically let me pull this degree wheel off. So the degree wheel used the factory nut on the clutch and literally just sandwiches onto the clutch. So simple, nice, very simple paper clip for a pointer. M4 bolt, very simple stuff, just user-friendly stuff. So let me pull this cylinder hold off and this dial caliper, and we'll go over what we're going to do inside here. So obviously I had reassembled it so I could do all the port timing, the durations, and all that stuff. So there it is, and then we'll just pluck this cylinder off one more time because she ain't going back together until she's done. So basically we are going to, Obviously, I don't know if you guys remember, but we did have a little bit of surface rust on the weights of the crank. That's unfortunate. We're just going to have to clean it up. But basically, this portion of the case we're going to match to the gasket just so there's no interruption in flow there. There's no step going into the transfer ports of the cylinder. So we're going to do that. And then, like I said, as far as the takedown, we're going to be pulling 95 thousandths off the top of this deck here. The top of this cylinder, we're going to pull that down 95 thou. We'll put our chamfer back in it. That's all stuff that'll be done on the lathe. I'm not sure if I'm going to machine or 3D print a jig for the bottom of this to chuck it in the lathe, or if I'm just going to get ballsy and grab her inside the bore. I'm not sure. We'll figure that all out. But that's that. And then as far as these, the boost ports here and the piston ports, we're going to clean that slag out of there, that basically that flashing from when they cast that thing. So we're going to clean that out with a Dremel, and you know, that'll be the deal with that. And that's as far as I'm going to go with the piston. And then same deal, like I said, we're going to clean up this case to match the gasket. Same deal. We're just going to use a Dremel tool and, you know, clean that up and profile it so it bleeds in nice to the ports. So basically that's going to be it, and I guess the next step is let's start cutting this damn thing.